So what if I told you you could get a freestanding, sub 3 pound, 2-person backpacking tent made with DAC poles that's about $250 less than the big name competitors? Well, today I'm reviewing the Naturehike Star River EXT Ultralight 2-person backpacking tent to see if it's a legitimate alternative to tents like the Nemo OSMO Hornet and the big Agnes Tiger Wall UL. Or we're going to see if this price savings comes with some real compromises. If you're interested, stay with me. So the Star River is a freestanding ultralight 2-person backpacking tent that's aimed at hikers who want to keep their weight down without spending $600. So if you're a weekend warrior or a section hiker, or just someone who's trying to put together a lightweight kit, then this tent is aimed at you. So let's open it up and see what you get with the Star River. So the first thing you'll notice about this tent is its unique stuff sack. It has 3 separate compartments. In this compartment, you have the body of the tent, the stakes and guy ropes. Here you have the fly. Here you have the tent poles. This weighs 2.98 pounds or 1.35 kilograms. It is 16 inches long and 5.5 inches wide, so it's very small in its stuff sack. It also comes with a ground sheet that's outside of the stuff sack. It weighs 5.9 ounces or 167 kilograms. What I like to do, if you have 2 people, is you can divide this tent up very easily. You can take the body of the tent, put it together with a footprint. That total weighs 27.5 ounces. You can take the poles and the flies, put that together, and that weighs 26 ounces. So both of these weigh just slightly over 1.5 pounds, and that makes it really great for carrying with 2 people. Very lightweight. So what I want to do now is take this tent, take the components out, and go over each component with you. So here are the components of the tent. Let's start with the ground sheet. It's made out of 20D nylon, has a polyurethane coating on it with a 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic head rating. You have 12 DAC J stakes. You have a total of 6 guy ropes. 2 come pre-attached to the fly. These are made of that ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, which is similar to Dyneema, very lightweight, very strong. You have a pole repair sleeve. You have a double Y pole held together with shock cord. It's made out of DAC aluminum. It's 8.7 millimeters thick, which is very good. The fly of the tent is made out of a 10D 500T nylon. It's polyurethane coated and it has a 1,500 millimeter hydrostatic head rating on it. 500T stands for your thread count. Most nylons used on tents are 300 or 400. This is 500, which makes it very dense. The mesh on the tent is made out of a 10 denier nylon. The floor of the tent is a 20D 380T double ripstop nylon. It's polyurethane coated and has a 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic head rating, which is very good. You take the footprint and the floor of this tent, you shouldn't have any water coming through the floor of this tent. Well, let's get the body set up. We're going to talk about the measurements and some of the features on the body of the tent. The Star River is a breeze to set up. The buckles on the ground sheet, tent body, fly, and the poles are all color coordinated. The buckles and poles on the head of the tent are red, while the foot is gray. Of course, having buckles on the ground sheet or footprint makes it possible to set the tent up fly first. And this really comes in handy when you need to pitch your tent in the rain. Pitching the fly first will keep the tent body dry. And if you want to go as light as possible, you can pitch the fly without the tent body. This will bring your total weight down to 2 pounds and 4 ounces, or 1,020 grams. So the first thing you'll notice about this tent is it does have a lot of mesh, and that's a sign of a well-made tent. In fact, I think the mesh on any backpacking tent is probably the most expensive element of that tent. That's why on a lot of the cheaper tents, you'll have a lot of fabric and very little mesh. And the mesh is important because it gives you excellent ventilation on the warmer days as well as the cooler days when you're prone to get condensation. So that's a sign of a well-made tent. The second thing that's a big plus on this tent are the measurements. It's 82.7 inches in length, it's 51.2 inches wide, and 41.3 inches tall. Now, when I measured it from seam to seam, those measurements are correct, but when you lay it down like this, it's only about 50 inches wide and about 81.5 inches long. But here's the big plus. This allows you to put 2 25-inch sleeping pads in this tent. Now, when you compare that to the Nemo OSMO Hornet and the big Agnes Tiger Wall, they both taper at the foot. The Nemo Hornet tapers to 43 inches. The big Agnes Tiger Wall, it tapers to 42 inches. So you can't get 2 25-inch sleeping pads in those tents. They're really more of a 1-person tent. In fact, I think 50 inches is about the minimum that you can get 2 people in a 2-person backpacking tent comfortably. With those other tents, you're gonna have to go to a 20 or 23-inch sleeping pad to get 2 people in there, and you're packed in there like sardines. Well, let's go on the inside of this and show you the pockets and the hook. There's not a lot of pockets in this tent. As we open it up, I do want to show you it's a double zipper, one that zips that way and one that zips down this way. The doors are very nice. They're large doors. As you can see, that's a very nice door. Plenty of room to get in and out, and I like that. I'm not too sure I'm crazy about the double zipper thing, but hey, it is what it is. So there's only one storage pocket, that's at the foot of the tent, and it's very small. That's a shortcoming on this tent. It's something that Naturehike should have remedied by putting at least a gear caddy in here. There is a hook at the top of the tent so you can hang a lantern or a light, but that's a big negative on this tent. So here's something I definitely want you to know about this tent. The floor is 50 inches wide, but as you make your way to the top, the side walls narrow in, and it's probably just a little bit over 2 feet wide at the top. That makes it very difficult for 2 people to sit up at the same time. You can do it, but your shoulders are going to be in the side walls. That's not a deal breaker to me, but that is something I wish it did have vertical walls. Well, I'm going to get the fly on it, show you a couple of things about the fly, then I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. I'm going over the pros and cons. So the first thing you're going to notice on the fly is the material does not come all the way to the ground on both the head and the foot. That's why you have the extra material on the body of the tent on both the head and the foot. Now this gives you exit ventilation, and it also saves some weight. You'll also notice the vestibules are not huge, but they're adequate enough to store a pack and a pair of shoes. You'll also notice it has an extra wide rain flap covering the zippers, and it's Velcroed down. These zippers, I may not have mentioned it, but they are Y2K zippers. Let's unzip this tent. There is an extra zipper that's covered with a fly in the front that zips up. And then you can roll this thing straight up here. So this is pretty ingenious, adding the extra zipper up here. You could probably actually even go in and out that way. But when you roll it up, it gives you tons of ventilation for those hot days and nights. You also have enough room left in the vestibule back here to get a 60-liter pack and probably a pair of shoes. That's about it. They're not huge vestibules. But now I want to show you something this door will do that's even more ingenious. So this is definitely a really neat feature. You can actually use your trekking poles and the extra guy ropes, and that's why it has so many stakes, to make yourself an awning. And you could use this in light rain or just to keep the sun off you. You could actually just sit just inside your tent on your sleeping pad, and you've got plenty of room out here to cook. You know, so that's pretty neat. So you could use it in sunny conditions, or I think even in light rain. And you still have your vestibule back here to keep your pack dry and your shoes dry. Well, of course, you'd have your shoes on if you had your feet out of it probably, but this is a neat little feature. I don't know that I'd ever use it, but hey, it might be something that you're interested in. Let me get out of here and we'll talk about the pros and cons. Okay, so what do I really like about this tent? Well, first of all is the overall value. This tent retails for $299. I got it for $228. When you compare that to the Nemo Hornet and the big Agnes Tiger Wall, you're saving $250 or more right off the bat. And those don't include the ground sheet. This one does. That Nemo Hornet ground sheet is another $89. The Tiger Wall ground sheet's another $80. So you're saving a substantial amount of money by buying this tent. The second thing I like about it is the rectangle shape. It's 51 inches at the head and the foot, and that enables you to get 2 25-inch sleeping pads in there. The Hornet goes down to 43, the Tiger Wall down to 42. So you're gonna have to use either a 23 or 20-inch sleeping pad. And I hate sleeping on a 20-inch sleeping pad. 23 would be the minimum for me. But really 50 inches is about the minimum width for a 2-person backpacking tent. And then the third thing is the overall quality of this tent. The materials are really good. It's got a ton of mesh for ventilation. It's made of quality aluminum poles, quality fabrics. It's double stitched on all the seams. The seams are taped impeccably underneath. You've got really good quality workmanship. I didn't find any loose hanging threads. And then I like the stuff sack. That's pretty ingenious, having 3 different components that fit together so you can divide them up between 2 people and you're both carrying around 1.5 pounds. And then this tent is waterproof. I did test it. One night it rained most of the night and I had no leaking. Now this fabric, it wetted out after a period of time, but there was no leaking inside the tent, so that's a big plus. But you know, nothing is perfect, and there are some cons on this tent. There are some things that could be better. The first thing I think about is the warranty. Big Agnes and Nemo offer a lifetime warranty on their products. I had a Big Agnes AXL sleeping pad. After 4 years, the pleat started coming apart on my last backpacking trip, and it started leaking in one after another after another. I contacted Big Agnes. About 2 weeks later, I had a Big Agnes UL Zoom, a better sleeping pad, to replace it free of charge. And that really counts. That really means something. Now, Naturehike says that they have a warranty, but I couldn't find out any information really about it on their website. So if you have the extra money, it really sometimes pays off to go with the name brands, or the US name brands. The second thing about this tent is it weighs 8 ounces more than the Tiger Wall and Hornet. Now, I'm willing to carry that extra 8 ounces to get that foot space, but some people may not want to carry another 8 ounces, another half pounds, especially those gram counters out there. But now I will tell you, they do make a tent called the Star Trail that's basically just like this, except it does narrow to 43 inches at the foot, and it is lighter weight and less expensive. And then the third thing I don't like about it is the sloped sides. You know, they slope in as you go to the head of the tent. Now, the Hornet and the Tiger Wall do the same thing, so I guess you have to live with that to get this light of tent. And then the biggest thing is there's no storage space on this tent on the inside. Now, with it 50 inches wide, you need some storage space. You've got the one little pocket at the foot. It needs some pockets at the head of the tent, and probably a gear loft would be nice also. But you know what? None of those things would be deal breakers for most backpackers when you consider the cost savings for this product. It's going to save you a lot of money, and it's made of really good quality materials. You don't have the warranty, but what do you think? Do you have a Naturehike product? Do you have a Star River tent? Now, I will tell you something at the end of this video. There's 4 iterations of the Star River. There is the regular Star River, which is made of 210 polyester. It weighs 4.9 pounds, real inexpensive tent. Then there's a Star River made of 20 denier nylon that weighs 4.3 pounds. Then there's a Star River Ultralight that I think came out last year that Luke did a review on. It weighs right at 4 pounds. It's made of 15 denier nylon. Then this is a Star River Extreme Ultralight tent. It weighs 2.98 pounds. So I really like this product. I've had good success with Naturehike products, but what about you? Leave me some comments. If you have any questions about it, I'd be glad to answer them. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you out on the trail sometime.